Good morning. We are Food Security, and our project name is Supporting Roots in Eleuthera. I'm Sophia Moore.
I'm Betsy Badbuena.
I'm Eleanor Wilson.
I'm Caleb McDonough. I'm Ben Hopa.
And I'm Lucy Swedberg.
And our advisors, as you know, are Caitlin Tilley and Jacob Nelson. So, millions of people worldwide are facing the very serious and pressing issue of food insecurity. But what is food security, you might ask? Food security consists of three main aspects: availability, access, and utilization. Availability is the presence of ample nutritious food in a given area. Access is that all people who need the food can get to it. Some limiting factors of access can be lack of money, lack of transportation, and other socioeconomic factors. Utilization is what happens to the food after it is obtained. Is it used in a healthy way, or is it used in an unhealthy way? Some limiting factors of utilization can be lack of education about nutrition and healthy cooking. One group that is particularly vulnerable to food insecurity is the SIDS. SIDS is a group defined by the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization as small island developing states in the Caribbean and Pacific. They are very vulnerable because they are remote, they are islands, and many of them are more dependent on the tourism industry than the agricultural industry. As you can see in this figure, which displays the import dependence of Caribbean SIDS in the years 1995 and 2011, the Bahamas has consistently had the highest import dependence of all those countries. Now Betsy will describe a little bit more about why this is.
As Sophia was mentioning, the Bahamas struggles very much with food insecurity. This is for many reasons. Our definition, for the purpose of this research class, we have decided to create our own definition of food security to be the quantity of food in which is purchased within Bahamas. As of 2016, the island school has been 89% food insecure. This means we rely very heavily on imports. So most of our food comes from Bahamas Food Service and Cisco. 90 tons of our food is imported every year. This is for many negative effects that it has on the island school. For instance, importing food does not support the local economy. Secondly, it creates many greenhouse gas emissions into the air due to the extra transportation needed of importing food. Now, there are many limitations of sourcing food on Eleuthera. For instance, the Bahamas struggles from very inconsistent rainfall. This has many effects on the farmers. As you can see, there's very inconsistent rainfall. This is for many reasons, and crops may fail because of this, and farmers may have to pay extra money due to irrigation. In Eleuthera, there's also poor soil quality. Therefore, there are many limits on the farming possibilities in many areas. There's also a social limitation here on Eleuthera. Many young people here do not see farming as a future career. All of these limitations have a big impact on how food secure the island school is, as well as how food secure Eleuthera can become. Despite all of these challenges, our goal as a food security team here at the island school is to develop a 5-year plan to become 50% food secure by 2025.
For our research, we decided to split our methods into internal and external methods because the nature of our project required communicating back and forth with the kitchen here, as well as outreach to local farmers and organizations. For internal methods, we interviewed the Island School kitchen because we needed to collaborate on possible changes to what food we purchased, as well as taking a closer look at the kitchen receipts. A previous semester's research class compiled all of the 2016 kitchen receipts into a food audit, and we were able to use this data, as well as data from this year that we collected, to compare food security from 2016 to 2019 in the months of January, February, and March. When working with local farmers, most of our outreach entailed taking a trip up north, because the soil in North Eleuthera is much richer, more fertile, and there is a higher concentration of farmers living and working there. We interviewed these farmers to see what foods we could source from them specifically, as well as just to get the general idea of what farming on Eleuthera looks like. We made connections with these farmers so that this project could go past our semester. And we also made connections with farms farther away and on different islands by phone call. A big part of our outreach was and continues to be working with local organizations. We visited the Bahamas Agricultural and Industrial Corporation. They work with farmers and lease out government-owned land. We also really hope to represent the Island School in the South Lutheran Farmers Association so that we can attend meetings and stay up to date on what is happening in the farming community.
I will now be discussing the results from this semester's research. According to a food audit that we conducted using a proxy through the months of January, February, and March, we've discovered that in 2025, in 2019, we are 29% food secure. We have developed a full step-by-step plan for the Island School to follow to become 56% food secure by 2025. Along with that, we created a document full of statistics and logistics for the Island School to follow step-by-step to become 56% food secure. We have split up all the food into categories based on how they are used. As you can see, some of these categories have had great changes from our 2019 and our 2025 goals. Ben and Lucy will now be explaining how we set these goals and how we wish to achieve these goals.
So Lucy and I will now be, for the discussion section, Lucy and I will now be going through each food category in detail and describing how by 2025 we aim to become more food secure in that category. So for red meat, our main goal is to eliminate all beef imports until a local farmer, Edginson Manette, can provide us with beef. We'll be replacing this beef with locally sourced chicken, pork, and mutton. The Island School also currently buys over 1,000 pounds of bacon per year for over $8,000. This amount of bacon cannot be supplied within the Bahamas and is an unnecessary expense, and so we'll have this amount. Hopefully by following these things, we'll get 67% food security by 2025. In the other proteins category, our main goal is to eliminate all turkey imports and replace them with locally sourced chicken from Albico Big Bird. We'll also be increasing on-campus production of proteins, such as tilapia and mushrooms. These things will get us 93% food security by 2025. In the condiment section, we'll be purchasing locally made jams and jellies that are made from locally grown fruits in order to replace this imported strawberry jam that we currently buy. We'll also be increasing production and purchasing of locally grown herbs in order to make salad dressings and as a replacement for dry seasonings. We will also be increasing the amount of hives we have on campus and the purchasing of locally sourced honey as a replacement for the over $4,000 in maple syrup that we buy per year. This will get us to 24% food security by 2025. The Island School currently imports over 98% of its starches, which include pasta, grains, and potatoes. In order to offset this, we'll be replacing them with local starchy vegetables such as cassava, plantains, and sweet potatoes. This will get us to 30% food security by 2025. So we're very excited to announce that by 2025, we'll be 100% food secure for fruit. Currently, the bulk of our fruit comes from imported items such as like grapefruits, oranges, and apples, and we'll be replacing this with local fruits as they come to season. We'll be following the seasonality chart, and if you look, like papayas come to season from January to May, and so we'll be sourcing all these fruits at different times of the year in order to offset this, and we'll have like a large diversity for the menu.
We currently require 77 dozen eggs per week, the bulk of which is imported from the Bahamas Food Service. To combat this, we plan on purchasing our eggs locally from farms such as Hilltop Farms and Tailor Made. Along with our eggs from our chickens on campus, doing this will allow us to become 100% food secure in eggs by 2025. We are currently 0% food secure in snack. In order to become 32% food secure in snack by 2025, we plan on replacing our imported snacks such as pretzels, snack mix. We plan on replacing those with local fruit and local vegetables. We also plan on eliminating afternoon snack. By 2025, we plan on becoming 60% food secure in vegetables. Although this isn't the largest number, it's very difficult to become food secure in vegetables because of seasonal limitations. For example, on the far left in red, you can see that tomatoes are much more abundant in the winter months of January, February, and March, and much more scarce in the summer months of June, July, and August. We are currently 28% food secure in drinks. By 2025, we will become 100% food secure in drinks by replacing our imported drinks such as teas, orange juice concentrate, and other drink mixes with local teas, coconut water, local fruit juices, and ice water. Completing all of these changes, adjustments, and replacements will help us become 56% food secure by 2025. Going forward, the food security and kitchen teams will work together to connect with local farmers and continue growing our edible campus. Through collaboration, we aim to achieve and exceed our food security goals and practice living well in a place through sourcing our food locally. Just a quick thank you to our research advisors, Jacob and Caitlin, along with Cam Ragoose, Nick from communications, the kitchen staff, all of the local farmers we worked with, and everybody else who made this research project possible. Any questions? Yes.
I'm curious about the use of greenhouses, perhaps, to extend the season or to grow things that aren't currently here, and spices and other things.
The problem here is that everything has to be imported. The question was, is having greenhouses feasible here, and would that help extend the growing season for different crops here? All the things have to be imported onto this island from, usually from Nassau or from the US. And so it's really expensive for farmers to do that. And we've contacted a lot of farmers, and they said that greenhouses would be really helpful, but it's just not within their budget right now. And it's easier to just continue farming how they are currently.
Do you see a cost saving from doing this, or is it going to be more expensive?
The question was, will this save us money?
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually, some of our buying locally will be at market price, but actually a lot of it will be cheaper than the imports, which kind of seems surprising because you would think farm fresh food would be more expensive, but actually our research shows that it will be saving us money in some areas.
We are also trying to become an edible campus, so with that, we can use the resources that we have here to use it in our kitchen.
What's your how do you follow up on this? How do you look forward to 2025 and say we made it, we didn't make it, and you guys know that you did it? Us sitting here today get an email that says, "Wow, that was awesome, you did it."
Okay, I can answer this question. The question was, how do we follow up on this later? So we have a 5-year plan right now. That's our goal. And there's a big document that has all the logistics and everything on it, so that once we leave this semester, the next semesters that can come and the next food security research teams can come together and continue this plan and start working with farmers and still contacting them and keeping that connection so that nothing is left behind.
One big problem that previous research has found is that there's a big turnover rate at the Island School in terms of employment, and so a lot of times things like this will just get lost when people will retire and new people will come in, and so our goal is that this plan will help us follow through with everything. Yes. How
did you approach changing behaviors versus changing sources? I noticed in some places you say, we'll stop doing certain things versus finding new sources, and I imagine that could change the numbers quite a bit.
So the question was how basically the distinction between changing behaviors and changing like where we're getting the food from. And so basically cutting things out, like we mentioned, we're cutting out afternoon snack. That'll be very helpful for us because we are importing a lot of all of that dry food. But also not just cutting things out and finding local sources is really important to us because we want to really boost the local economy. So most things we're really trying to get in Eleuthera, but also it's kind of hard to, like for dry snack, it's hard to find a replacement for that here. So that is something that we have to cut out, but basically overall we're trying to just to switch sources rather than change behaviors.
The soil issues here, you grew tilapia. Have you guys ever thought about doing your hydroponics just with the nitrogen produced by the waste of the fish instead of filtering it? You see you have filters on the fish tanks. Just having the plants, the water come up through the plant roots, you don't need any type of soil at all. Any plant will grow.
That is not something that we've discussed. I'm not sure. I think the aquaponics team is presenting, so maybe they know something a little bit more about it. But yeah.